Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the reason, in my humble opinion, that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock dead in the face at the 2022 Oscars. All right, okay. So I want to get this super clear. There is a reason, in my humble opinion, that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock dead in the face at the 2022 Oscars. There is the fault of Will Smith smacking Chris Rock in the face. There is a responsibility for Will Smith smacking Chris Rock in the face at the 2022 Oscars. Okay, the fault is Will Smith's. The fault of Will Smith smacking Chris Rock is 100% belongs to Will Smith and no one else. The responsibility for Will Smith smacking Chris Rock at the 2022 Oscars is 100% Will Smith's responsibility. But the reason is not Will Smith. So let's get into it, okay? So the reason being someone else, and I'm going to tell you who the reason is in a moment, it does not remove the fault or the responsibility from Will Smith. Okay, I want to make that super clear as we go forward. What is the reason that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock in the face at the 2022 Oscars? In my humble opinion, the reason is Vladimir Putin. I can already hear your eye roll, right? But hear me out. All right, so so this is complicated. Let's get into it. Here's the flow, okay? So, why is Vladimir Putin the reason that Will Smith smacked Chris Rock in the face, in my humble opinion? Here's the reason. What Vladimir Putin did, like everybody's like, you can't blame everything on Vladimir Putin. Yeah, you really can. Really. And the reason why is it's the strain he put on the world. It has brought everyone to a breaking point. And I'm not the only one saying this, right? Go back on my channel a while ago and you will find a video about me talking about Anna Akana saying we're all traumatized. We are all traumatized. Yeah, I think that's the state of the world. We are in a world of customary chaos that Vladimir Putin has cemented. He didn't start the fire, but boy did he pour gas on it, right? Like the fire was started in March 2020, right? So here's why Vladimir Putin is responsible for virtually every, I would say 99% of all problems that America has today are caused by Vladimir Putin, and here's why, okay? So we took a huge hit in March 2022, right? Plague came back, right? We hadn't seen it since 1917. We hadn't seen it for over a century, right? Plague came back, and it just broke America, like fundamentally. It just caused incredible strain to us. And the reason why was we're like, oh my gosh, there's this plague. And then we look to our government, and our government's like, here's a pile of lies, and you're on your own, whatever, we don't care. Like, it was like we were just frustrated with the response. We were like, where's the truth? Where's the care? Where's the organization? Where's the power? Where's the, like, this is what you're putting up? Like, and 2 years later, like, it wasn't until 2 years after March 2020, right, that Biden, like, whipped off his mask and shook hands with every senator and congressperson, right? And so essentially, just by action said, plague is over, right? Like, we don't really care about it anymore, right? So that was an incredible strain. I cannot tell you how much strain that put on every American. So then we reached the 2-year mark, and every American's like, okay, we've been waiting for this. We've been holding in a breath, and we're ready to return to normalcy. And right then, Vladimir Putin showed up and said, hey, I got this dispute with this European country, and I'm going to hold all of you hostage to it. And if you do a single thing to address the savagery, if you do a single actual thing rather than performative gestures, do all the performative gestures you want, right? Like toothless sanctions. But if you do anything real to stop me, I will NW arc multiple nations tomorrow. Your cities will blow away in a radioactive wind, right? Threaten the whole world, right? And he did it right when everybody was about to release the breath they had been holding from Plague World. right? He did it when everybody was like, we're going to return to normal. And then he said, no, what's really happening is, so Vladimir Putin, what he was really, his enemy is the world, okay? And what he did was he waited for the world to go into surgery, right? And basically, after you're there for 2 days of surgery, they release you and you go to your home and you sit on your couch for, 7 days and you just kind of recover. He walked up at the hospital door and just punched the surgery victim in the face and started kicking them, right? And and Vladimir Putin's actions are so outrageously villainous and evil because of the timing. Okay? Right? It's like, you couldn't understand these actions in a normal time. And so then to see these incredibly outrageously villainous actions, right, threatening the entire world with a threat it really hadn't worried about since the 1950s, taking the world back to duck and cover, literally at the moment when the world was like, we're going to breathe a sigh of relief, and America most of all, right, is just, it was too much to bear. And here's the issue, right? It's a little, so with Will Smith, he has to deal with everything I just said, right? But it's a little deeper. He's a husband and a father. He's a husband and a father, okay? So I think, and get this, this is really interesting. Not only is he a husband and a father, but he's a husband and a father that is from a very new model, right? Like where both spouses are bringing in, provision. You don't have that old provider role, right? And it's a very modern, woke model for marriage, right? But there was very recently a strain in that marriage, right? Where it got to the point, and I think a lot of people are feeling this right now, like the woke model for the world, it won, right? So now it has to carry the weight of the win. It has to hold families up. It has to hold nations up. It has to hold institutions up. And very frequently, I think a lot of people are like, wait, we put our weight on a woke model and it broke. And now, without saying I'm going back to the old model, I'm going to go back to the old model, the old traditional model, right? And so I think, like a lot of husbands and like a lot of husbands and some wives, they put weight on the woke model, and the woke model caused them incredible harm, right? Like, and just didn't take the weight. Like, if you put the dinner plate onto the table, and the table turns out to be made of paper, and then you're like, and everything's, the next time you get the dinner plate, you're like, maybe I should put that on the old wooden table, right? Like, and so I think Will got stuck in this where he's like, oh, maybe I should go back. And what we saw, and what a lot of people were talking about, was Will Smith protecting his wife. That is an incredibly old school model. That's not a woke model, right? But I think he felt a need to go back to that, and the reason why was, he's a husband and a father. I'm here, right? And when you're a husband and a father, you're like, hey, I got people who are relying on me, and I need to protect them. And then you live in this world where Vladimir Putin shows the entire world, you can't protect anyone. You are a husband and father. You can protect nothing. Nothing. You can't help your family. Your greatest fighters will be benched. No justice will be served to villains, right? And a husband and father, you're like, I'm worried about somebody coming in the door, but I don't need to worry about somebody coming in the door because I'm watching a global villain right now just straight murdering people, and people with outrageous resources to stop it can do nothing, right? And so I really feel that Vladimir Putin put every husband and a father in a position where they're like, I want to do something, I want to help, right? But the whole world is saying, shut up, get in the corner, cower, like your president. Just cower. Don't do anything. Don't act, right? And I think Will just snapped, right? And he just was like, I can't take it anymore. I can't sit back and watch villainy, right? Like, and do nothing, right? And what he was reading in the moment, I think, was he was like, somebody just hurt my wife, right? And the old model just like slammed a cage on his heart and on his mind, right? And I think he just snapped. He made a terrible, terrible mistake, and he should not have done what he was doing. But I think the reason he did it was this incredible strain that husbands and fathers are feeling right now, where the world is saying, do not act. Only cower like President Biden. Just shrivel up, like this. Don't you dare use anything you have to protect yourself. Watch as villainy occurs. Do nothing. Do nothing. Right? And Will couldn't do that. He should have. He should have done nothing in that moment, because what's happening with Vladimir Zelensky, what's happening with Vladimir Putin is different, right? And the reason why was it was unprovoked and it was unjustified. What happened with Will Smith was provoked, but his attack was but Will's smack was unjustified. It was violence meeting words, right? And I think what he was doing was what every husband and father wants right now at the macro level. There are exceptions, but where the majority of husbands and fathers are like, we've got to have a world where we can do more than cower like President Biden, right? There's got to be more, right? And I think he just made this, the pressure of of Vladimir Putin stealing the respite, stealing the lack of pressure, and the audacity, right, of Vladimir Putin saying, I see you, world. I see how harmed and frustrated and weak you are, and I'm going to hit you right now. Right now. I'm going to hit you at the doors of the hospital. I'm going to knock your IV down. I'm going to kick your wheelchair over, and I'm just going to kick you in the ribs again and again and again, right? I'm going to hit you when you're down and weak. That's why what happened with Vladimir Putin mattered, and why not a single American husband or a father why the majority of American husbands and fathers are just feeling this weight on their shoulders, like, when do we do something against villainy, right? And I think the pressure is on all of us. It's on all of us. We feel it, right? And in that moment, Will lost control. And another reason why I feel this so strongly is if I'm listening to tons of commentary on this, and people are saying, this is not him. This is not him. This is not an action you expect from this man. This is very directly different. And that's the key. That's the key. Like, I think it's true. I think he just broke. He snapped. It doesn't remove an ounce of fault, and it doesn't remove an ounce of responsibility. But I think the true reason Will Smith struck Chris Rock is the pressure of Vladimir Putin saying, you have come out of chaos, I drag you to chaos. I guarantee you chaos. I give you chaos. I make chaos. You will never get peace. And the pressure is too much. Too much because of the timing. And we are all traumatized. That is the words of Anna Akana, and I 100% agree with him. And right now, Will Smith is paying the deepest price for it. That's my thoughts. What's your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.